Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, LarryWBrooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations.
Are you ready to engage in some powerful real estate fun? Because tickets are officially on sale for the HAR Engage Conference.
This year's conference promises an enlightening experience as industry leaders and experts unite to share their insights on the real estate industry, technology, and many other topics.
Whether you're just getting started in real estate in your real estate journey, or if you're a seasoned pro, HAR Engage has something for everyone. Plus, with countless networking opportunities, you connect with tons of like-minded real estate professionals.
So don't wait. Grab your tickets now before they sell out. Head over to har.com/engage to secure your spot at the hottest real estate event of the year. We can't wait to see you there.
What's up, Prime Real Estate Network listeners? It's your man, LarryWBrooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. Hey, when you get a moment, go ahead and go over to shoplwb.com. You can see the Pure Hustle merchandise that we have over there, some of our newer items that we have in stock, and of course, I got all the books that I've authored. I'd love for your support. You have a great day.
Good day. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this week on Prime Real Estate Network Live, and we have a really exciting show planned for you all. So first things first, if you're checking us out live on YouTube or Facebook, get involved in today's show. Leave myself a relevant question in the comment section, and you never know, me and today's interview guest may very well answer your question on today's stream. Man, it's really exciting to be here. I want to give a huge shout out to the team over at the Brooks and Davis West office. This is where we're streaming from live today. And the Brooks and Davis West office is located at 111 Katy Freeway. So if you're on this side of town, if you're a realtor, if you're an appraiser, if you're just someone interested in learning more about buying, selling, or investing, feel free to stop by the 9th floor at 111 Katy Freeway and stop by the Brooks and Davis West office. Man, we would love to sit down and talk to you. Today's show is entitled Images is Everything. And on today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about establishing your entrepreneurial brand, how in today's changing real estate climate, you can use technology, creatives, and also a lot of well-known practical tips to take your brand to the next level and to also do a great job of illustrating your value in the entrepreneurial business community, especially from a real estate perspective. So I want to take a little time to introduce this week's guest. This fine gentleman is not only one of the most talented photographers here in the city of Houston, he is a media branding specialist, and he is the owner and founder of the People's Paparazzi. I want to thank him so much for sitting in on the show this week, and I'd like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, Mr. Quincy Holmes. How are you?
Hello. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Ric. I really appreciate that.
No, man, it's been great sitting in with you, man. I thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule, because I know as we get closer to the weekend, that's when your schedule really ramps up, and that's when you try to make sure you're there for all your clients. So for those in our audience who are meeting you for the first time, Quincy, could you introduce yourself, the People's Paparazzi, and talk a little bit about the brand and the movement as a whole?
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Quincy Holmes. I am the People's Paparazzi. I'm from Queens, New York, and college in North Carolina. I moved out here about 3 years ago. Just didn't really know what to do. I've always had a camera. I've always used it. I always watched my father use his camera, but I never really put much effort into turning it into a business until I got laid off. Right, I was working with Facebook at the time I got laid off, and I just decided, you know what, I need to make money. I need to make money on my own terms. I don't want to wait for somebody to send me a paycheck. It's got to be mine. So I leaned into it. I started learning. I started researching, and I built what I have today, just off the strength of, I don't want somebody else to tell me when I can pay my bills or when I can't.
Right.
Go from there.
You know, you have such a unique work experience, and I thank you so much for being so transparent. I believe you may be the first guest that we've had the pleasure of interviewing that has actually been employed by a brand as well known and as large as Facebook. The experience that you gained being behind the curtain at that brand, how have you used that experience to help catapult your brand, the People's Paparazzi? And did you learn some things about social media, the social network, and online marketing as a result of working for Facebook?
Sure. So I was working with Facebook in the capacity of helping larger brands run their ads. Like, I was the man on the inside, essentially. So I'm the person that, like, if they're having trouble with their ads, they're running strategies, etc. I'm looking through those, and I'm using the tools that we have within Facebook to say, hey, this is going to work. This is not. Maybe we should adjust this. The tools are saying this is the red is better than the blue, etc. Like little tweaks like that, to kind of help them move along and get the impact and get the results that they were looking for. And then when it came to my own brand, being in that atmosphere, it helped me understand what the expectations of a larger corporation want from somebody that they're contracting, right? So if I am going to be reaching out to larger corporations, and if I want larger corporations to be my customers, I know how to handle them. I know how to work with them. I know how to make sure that they feel comfortable and they feel taken care of. And that was a big piece that I took from working with Facebook.
How impressed are your clients when they learn that your services include more than photography, that includes more than editing videos or photos, that you actually can provide your clients with some insights as far as Facebook advertising, where they are best spending their investment dollars from that standpoint? How often do people tell you, well, Quincy, I'm just shocked that so many other services come along with working with you outside of just the traditional photography and video editing?
Yeah, absolutely. So my customers, they experience a lot. They get a lot from me when they book me, right? I know for a fact that if you come to me, it's because you want to make the most out of what you're getting. You're not getting a birthday photo shoot. You're not getting, oh yeah, like it's my anniversary, I just want to take some pictures real quick. It's different than that, right? The end game is, hey, I want to use these pictures to help me improve my brand, help my customers see me as somebody that is a professional. And what comes with that is, I need to understand how to help you get there, right? I need to understand what it takes, what type of social media reel or what type of photo is going to bring sales to your business, not just make your business look nice and cute, right? It's a whole nother level that comes with it. So when I encounter my customers, and when I'm talking to them, when I'm coaching them through, one of my services is we create, quick interviews, like social media reels for them. And because I've ran ads with Facebook, I know what works and what doesn't, right? Because I had that insider knowledge. It helps me take a different approach than maybe some other photographers that haven't had that experience at. So when it comes to my customers working with me, they are working with somebody that knows a lot about social media, knows a lot about running Facebook ads and Instagram ads, etc., and understands that the end game comes first, right? Whatever we're doing right now, the most important thing is where we're ending. So if the ending means we're increasing sales or we're increasing signups for this webinar, whatever it is, we got to start there and then work our way backwards.
The great thing about having you on this week with us, Quincy, and I urge everyone in our audience to follow Mr. Quincy Holmes on Instagram and everywhere on the online space. Follow the People's Paparazzi and all those same areas. Is that, especially here with our audience, it's so real estate driven. There are so many real estate investors, professional realtors, those that are buying and shopping that check us out. And the great thing about having you on is that we're at a time now where consumers, the buying and selling public, they're demanding more from their real estate professionals. They're demanding more services. They're demanding to know more about you, which makes the reels, the marketing, the online branding doubly important than it was maybe 6, 8, 10 months ago. Yeah. So for you as someone whose phone is ringing with business owners, entrepreneurs needing headshots, reels, have you found that there's a bit more urgency in the public to make sure they have that fine, that perfect, that professional, that finished look that you provide? What have you found as far as the market right now and the demand for what it is you provide?
So when it comes to business owners and needing Instagram reels, you always see Instagram gurus and like you always get all these tips and tricks when you're scrolling through Instagram. So everybody knows you got to post a reel every day, at least one every day, right? But it's tough to create that type of content if you don't have a proper direction, and when it comes to my clients, they want to reach out to me and they want to say, hey, Quincy, I want to come to you and I want to leave with everything I need to post on my social media for a month, post on my social media for 3 months, right? I want to come to you in one day and I want to get all this stuff done, right? And that's a service that I provide, right? So if you step into the studio that we work in, you're going to come out with a month's worth of posts, a month's worth of videos or whatever it is, so that you can continue it and keep your social media pumping and flowing. Because I mean, at the end of the day, Instagram reels are, what's getting the most traction right now.
Right.
You post a reel a day, some money's gonna come into your account. Maybe whether you close it or not, that's not my job.
Right.
You got to close now. You got
Right.
to get your sales together. But at the end of the day, what my job is to do is get eyes on you and
Yes.
make sure that they are intrigued enough to say, hey, you know what? What do you do? I want to learn more about your services. Or hey, here's some money. Go do it for me. Right?
Right.
Whatever that means.
No, and I want to urge all those new agents, all those recently licensed agents, those that are in real estate school, those that have scheduled their final licensing exam, and they're wondering how to get a foothold on their initial marketing push, their initial exposing their brand and their business to the public. I urge everyone to follow Quincy Holmes online, follow the People's Paparazzi, reach out to this fine gentleman and schedule a consultation. Because when you're starting a new business venture or a new practice, sometimes, Quincy, it can be hard to put your arms around all the things that's required to build a successful brand. Yeah. So that's why I urge everyone, even if you're new and you feel like I don't have enough of a book of business to need someone of Quincy's acumen, reach out to Mr. Holmes. Talk to him about what he can do and how he can get started and formulate a game plan. Quincy, could you talk about how important it is from that standpoint of marketing to have a roadmap, to have a tried and true process map to follow, to show those new people what the end looks like and how their future can grow and how they can build their brand over time?
Absolutely. So if you know what your end goal is, then you're able to, like I said before, you're able to work backwards from there and kind of break it down in a sense. So if you know that you want to have X amount of people joining you're joining your email list or whatever that is, right? You're going to create content focused on getting people to the email list and focused on that. And then that content is maybe speaking to your expertise or what are they benefiting from the email list. And it slowly just keeps getting broken down from there. And you get different ideas on how to create content on that, right? So it's talking about little tips and tricks on X, Y, and Z, or whatever it is. If we're talking about real estate, tips and tricks on how to buy a house. Okay, great. You want to learn, here's 3 tips on how to buy a house properly. If you want to learn the rest of my 10-step process on how to buy a house, here's the email list, and you can get the rest of the 10 steps, right? And then like though, like that's how you start to break down, okay, this is content, and that's a 15-second video, man. You
Right.
know, it's not an hour long. We're not posting on YouTube going crazy. Like, this is a 15-second video, quick hits. People are they're gonna see the information and say, hey, I like this guy, I like what he's talking about, or I like this girl, I like what she's talking about, I want to learn more. Email list. Boom. Now you got their contact information, and now you're able to reach out to them and say, hey, what type of house do you like? What are you looking for, etc. And it just turns into business, 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 business. But once you have an eye on that end goal, you can, like I said, just break it down piece by piece, and it flows. The content creation just flows from there.
You know, the great thing about being able to have business owners like yourself sit in with us, Mr. Holmes, is that you guys do such a great job of being so transparent and open with our audience. And you mentioned earlier in the interview how you're originally from Queens and how you were educated in North Carolina and how you've moved to Houston, Texas to not only ply your trade, but also to be a resident here. Could you talk about what opportunities you've noticed as a business owner in the city of Houston? Because there's some members of our audience from all over the country. A lot of them are entrepreneurs and business owners that Larry and myself may have met at networking events or at different conferences, who have thought about maybe opening up a flagship office or maybe expanding their offices to the city of Houston. Just as someone with boots on the ground, plying their trade as an entrepreneur and a business owner, what type of benefits have you found as far as transitioning and doing everything here in the city of Houston?
So I used to work for Oracle. It's a Fortune 100 tech company before I moved to Houston. And I quit my job and I moved here. I saved up a bunch of my commission checks and I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to be the Facebook ads guy. And I'm going to run ads on Facebook and I'm going to live wherever I want and have a great time. You know, but when I got here, it took maybe a month for me to realize, like, hey, I don't know if I'm ready for entrepreneurship yet. And I had to go through a lot of trial and error to figure out how do I train myself? How do I build up this mentality of an entrepreneur first before I can step into that world, right? And this was not I wouldn't recommend anybody do this, but I just jumped in anyway.
Right.
I was like, I don't know. I don't tell people to jump in because sometimes it's tough, you know, and it'll make you want to give up real fast if it's too tough for you, right? And I've had that feeling multiple times where I've wanted to give up. You know, it happens. I was a licensed life insurance and health insurance agent. I sold Medicare. I was working with 401ks. I had a couple Airbnbs in East Downtown Houston. I mean, I was wholesaling. I was doing so many different things, just trying to find my way, trying to find that thing that just, oh yeah, I can do this. This works. I'm really good at this. Boom, this is good. And you know, I've always had my camera, and I really just through trial and error, just being outside and networking, talking to people, I encountered somebody, a creative director out here in Houston, and she basically said, hey, you need to pick that camera back up and stop playing around with all this mess that you're trying to do. You're great at what you do and you enjoy it. Go hard. So now if we're talking about like somebody that's moving out here and they want to start a business or they want to become an entrepreneur, go find something that you really, really enjoy. And it's like, everybody's heard this before, right? You hear it all the time, like go find something you enjoy doing, etc.
Right.
But it's like, the reason why you're supposed to do that is because when it gets hard, it's going to be harder to give up because you love doing it. Right. Like that's the barrier to exit. That's the barrier to quitting, is if, hey, like I love taking pictures. I love creating things for people and creating people's ideas, etc. But it's hard right now. Maybe I got to use my credit card to pay my bills. Maybe I got to, maybe I got to ask my parents for money or something like that. Right. And it's hard right now. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to quit. Because I love this. I love what I do, and I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to study it every day. I'm going to spend hours and hours speaking and reaching out to other photographers so that they can teach me things as well, right? Like that's what comes with working in a space that you love. Like when you love to do something, like it's the world is so much more open to or I would say the universe starts to throw things your way when
Yes.
you're working in a space where you really, really enjoy it.
No, and I really do appreciate your candor, because I think sometimes, especially when we are business owners, we almost seem encapsulated into our own little world of challenges and successes. And I'm sure there's members of our audience that are sitting in their seat right now that can see aspects of your story that they relate to, and other aspects of their story that is almost like a mirror image of what they're going through in this current state. So thank you so much for sharing. I want to ask you this, because with so many entrepreneurs and business owners that I've had the opportunity to interview, I've seen some common threads. So I like to ask all my guests, when you think about your upbringing, were there any members of your family or your inner circle that were business owners, entrepreneurs? And if so, can you reflect back on how they may have served as an example or a motivating factor as far as how you saw your life turning out?
Yeah. So my father, so he wasn't a entrepreneur. My father was a New York City detective for 27 years. And what I saw him do was he did a lot of hard things. He hardened his mind so that he could do a bunch of hard things outside the household so that he could come back in the household and take care of us. I watched him do that. And that experience is what gave me the drive to become an entrepreneur and go create and do amazing things. All right. Because I watched my father work his ass off. Excuse me. I don't want to be cursing. Sorry about that. He worked as hard as he could.
Right.
He worked as hard as he could to put food on the table. And my mom had a job as well, but my dad he just worked hard. He understood that, hey, you have to do tough things to get things done in this world. Right. And I saw that and I watched him do that. And I saw some days where, he didn't really like his job. But he did his absolute best not to bring it home. And I watched that and I experienced that and I soaked all that in. So now, as I walk through my entrepreneurship journey, there are things that I've experienced in my childhood that I kind of take in mind with me. Okay, cool. I know that my dad's going to do a bunch of hard stuff to improve his net worth, to be able to create an environment for his kids to grow, to learn, etc. So I want to do the same thing. I want to do a bunch of incredibly difficult and amazing things, and I want to take risks, and I want to take these big, huge leaps so that I can create a world for my family and the people that know me, my friends, etc. So that when they encounter me, or now that I've done all these things, they can benefit from my experiences and from my abilities to create the things that I want and the things that I need. So I would say my father, I know it doesn't answer your question, entrepreneur. Most of my family is cops, right? That's just what it is. My grandfather, my mom's dad, like, it's just, everybody's cops, and that was the thing to do. You get your city job, excuse me, and you're safe, right? You're comfortable. You don't have to worry about anything. You're gonna get your pension after 20 years. There's no problems. Right. And now I am trying to walk the path of, all right, I have to create for myself. So I can't make $20 an hour, or I can't do, oh yeah, I'll do your headshots for $100. It don't work. It don't work, because at the end of the day, I have to elevate, I have to grow, I have to create an empire so that my children and my family and my network and my environment, like, they benefit from me being in their life. And that's what I want to be.
No, man, I thank you so much, because there are so many first generation business owners and entrepreneurs that we meet and that check out the show, and they serve as the guiding light for that next generation of their family. And I think sometimes we may under publicize the type of things and the sacrifices our parents and grandparents have made, that they may not have necessarily been in a position to chase their dreams and to step outside of the box. They chose to be responsible and consistent and provide a runway for their children to use to take themselves to the next level and shoot for the stars. So big, huge shout out to your pops, man. Big, huge shout out to the fam, because I think sometimes when they meet us as business owners, people may not understand the evolutionary path that we've traveled to be the business owner that they meet on the day that they meet you. So thank you so much. And I want to ask you this final question, Mr. Holmes. For any members of our audience that would love to meet, greet, interact with you, talk a little bit about the People's Paparazzi, will there be any opportunities in the near future where members of our audience can come out and interact with you on a personal basis?
Yeah, absolutely. So on September 8th, we're doing a social Sunday. And this is a networking event essentially. It's mostly for nonprofits, but at the end of the day, everybody's welcome, of course. And this is going to be at 519 North Sam Houston Parkway. That's the address, Suite 300. Basically, what I'm going to be doing there is I'm going to be taking headshots of everybody that's there. Right. I want people to come in and experience headshots, but also I'm going to be raffling off a full personal paparazzi branding photo shoot. That's one of my packages that I offer, where you would come into studio and you would get the full experience that I provide for my clients. So I'll be raffling that off. So I would love everybody to come out and speak to some people, network, and let's make this thing happen.
Hey, man, I want to thank you so much for sitting in with us, Quincy. So before we sign off this week, could you just share your website, contact information, all your social media handles? I want everyone in the audience who wants to become a part of the People Paparazzi movement to be able to do that. And for those that want to reach out to you for your professional services, I want to make that as easy as possible.
Absolutely. So on Instagram, that's where you'll see a lot of the work that I do. It's People's Paparazzi. And then with 2 eyes, of course. I never knew how to spell paparazzi until I had to make my name. And I just added the extra I because it looked cool. So that's what it is, So People's Paparazzi with 2 eyes. And then my email is info@peoplespaparazzi.com. Of course. And we can go from there. You can reach out to me in email or the Instagram. You'll be able to send me an inquiry form, and then I'll just give you a call and we can just talk about everything that you need when it comes to your shoot.
No, the great thing, Quincy, is that I want to thank you so much for sitting in, and I want to extend to you the invitation to sit back in with us anytime on the podcast. And as we get closer to your event for the nonprofit organization, please feel free to share any of that information with us, and I'd love to get it out to our audience, just to give them a reminder that it's time to come out and meet and greet Mr. Quincy Holmes. So please, brother, keep us in mind, and I want to thank you so much. And anytime you would like to sit in with us, man, you're always invited. Thank you so much, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. Have a great one.
All right. Thank you, man.
Yeah. It's a great interview, man. Once again, man, I want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Quincy Holmes of the People's Paparazzi for showing up for the Prime Real Estate Network audience. Urge everyone in the audience, please follow this fine gentleman on Instagram, Google him, call him, go to the website, because this gentleman is going to put you in a position, especially if you're a new agent or a less than seasoned agent. They're going to put you in a position where you can get into this highly competitive market. And from a media and branding standpoint, you can stand on the same foundation as giants. So please, let's reach out to Mr. Quincy Holmes. I want to give a huge shout out to the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. He'll be back with us next week. And we look so forward to hearing what's been going on in the world of the Texas Real Estate King. Big, huge shout out to Mr. Michael G. Davis and the entire staff over at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. Look, I want to urge everyone in the audience, check out BND TV, follow Brooks and Davis on Instagram, follow the Prime Real Estate Network on Instagram, and please subscribe, like, and share today's episode with Mr. Quincy Holmes, because there are so many members of the entrepreneurial world that could just benefit from knowing this gentleman and hearing his message. So until next week on Thursday in the Prime Real Estate Network hour, if you need me, I'm just a phone call, text, email, or DM away. And until next week at this same time, I urge everyone in the Prime Real Estate Network audience to please be safe and be blessed.